A very good evening to all. I think this is today's last session, and the point is that this is a technical session, sixth technical session, and the subject is industrial revolution and outsourcing momentum, co-piloting, and emerging role of historical content. By these words, this is CA Anil Sharma, Chairman, Raukla branch of EIRC. Sometimes earlier, I have got one client that he wanted to tell me, sir, can you complete my bookstop account or can you pass an entry, bank entry within one day? I said, how it is possible? It is not possible at all since the work is of 365 days and you are just saying 1 day or 2 days. Immediately, my junior assistant came to my office and he said, he just listened to this matter and he said, sir, हो जाएगा. मैंने कहा कैसे हो जाएगा? उसने कहा सर हो जाएगा, आप जिस क्लाइंट से काम ले लो, हम तो कर देंगे एक दिन में. So I was completely astonished कि जो काम 365 days का है, 1 day में कैसे होगा और 2 days में कैसे होगा और मान लीजिए 377 days में कैसे complete हो सकता है. Then he said, sir, I have got one software where I can bring all data from the pool, all data from the site, banking site, and I can pass in entry and you will get it all. That's the complete easy work, easy task. So, friends, now the world is going on, the stage where we are standing and the challenges which we are facing. This is not only the books of account or accounting nature or like different things. The thing is that how to save the time, how to challenge, how to participate with yourself from manual to computerized, then computer was a challenge, from computerized to, since right now we are facing artificial intelligence. So the point is that whether that artificial intelligence is challenged or just being a part of our profession, it's a partner. How do you deal with that? So for that, I just invite to today, I have got an opportunity to invite best experts in the hall. I just welcome CA Rishi Khator, convener, View Exchange, CACP Study Circle of EIRC. Just I requesting him to come on dash. CA Rishi Khator, sir. We have also panelist, esteemed panelist, Sri Ajay Pandit, Vice President, Mesco Pants. Rishi, sir. Now I request our esteemed panelist, Sri Mehul Mohanka, MD and Group CEO, Tega Industries Limited. Sri Mehul Mohanka. I request our esteemed panelist, Dr. Anup Kumar Sinha, Non-Executive Independent Chairman, Bandhan Bank. Sir, please come on dash. I also request our esteemed moderator, CA Vikas Jain, past Chairman, EIRC. I welcome you all, sir. Thank you, sir, for joining. Please have a seat. Now I request our RCM members, those who are available, to felicitate our esteemed guest. I request Mr. Sonu Goyal to please have a seat. Thank you. A big round of applause to all of them for this devoting their important time, valuable time for us, and they are sharing the thoughts which we are just, sir, wanted to listen from you. I would also like to introduce our guest, Sri Icai Pandit. Sri Icai Pandit is a Vice Chair President of Macau Paints, bringing nearly 3 decades of expertise in retail sales, B2B business development, and customer marketing to his role. As a senior executive, he drives Macau Paints' strategic vision to be a household name across India. I welcome you, sir. We also have Sri Mehul Mohanka, who is the Managing Director and Group CEO of the company. He holds a bachelor's degree in commerce from University of Calcutta and master's degree in business administration from the University of Petersburg. And it's our pleasure to listen his thought process today in today's session. We are also fortunate that we have Dr. Anup Kumar Sinha, who is a former director of Heritage Business School and currently designated as a chief mentor. He has also served on the board of NABARD. Dr. Sinha has taught at Presidency College and Indian Institute of Management, Calcutta. I welcome you, sir, all. Now, I request our program moderator, Sri Rishi Khatorji, to continue for the session.
Good evening, everyone. We are coming to the last session for this, the first day of this Golden Jubilee Conference of the Eastern India Regional Council of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. It has indeed been a very, very fulfilling day throughout, and whatever you've gathered through the day, I'm sure you'll carry home very good memories of the sessions, the takeaways that you have had this evening. This session is dedicated very specifically to industry experts. The topic, very aptly coined, Industrial Revolution and Outsourcing Momentum, Co-Piloting an Emerging Role of Chartered Accountants. Now, what I propose is we definitely have leading experts from 3 different segments, 3 different industries. One from the manufacturing side, the other from banking and financial services, and third is from yet again, from the paint industry. What I propose, gentlemen, is we'll have set of questions that will be thrown at you, and we would like to have your views on the industrial revolution and the outsourcing momentum, how it has affected your industry per se, and more importantly, what role or what are your expectations from you as industry experts, from we chartered accountants, as how we can deliver the goods for the betterment of the industry per se. So welcome each one of you, and at the outset itself, let me thank the EIRC of ICI for having us on board and inviting us to this important session for this conference. So, first question, let me pose it for Dr. Anup Sinha. Dr. Sinha, how do you think outsourcing is relevant to the financial services segment? Of course, there will be ups and downs, but then let me straight come to you as to how do you think outsourcing is important to the banking and financial segment insofar as your industry is concerned?
Good evening, everybody, and thank you very much, Mr. Jain. I'm currently, I'm the chairman of the board of a bank, a private bank, which is based in Kolkata. The headquarters is in Kolkata. But I come from a sector which is, as you know, all over the world. It's one of the most regulated industries that you can think of. And so I think in the banking sector, outsourcing has been minimal. And because of the risks that are perceived to be there, that keep everything in-house, only take one-off kind of help, not on a regular basis. Outsourcing is supposed to be something that is done on a regular basis. But, go to a consultant, go to an accountant for a specific audit, or go to a consultant for a specific piece of knowledge or study. But generally, outsourcing has not been, and I do not see the way outsourcing has developed in the world, and particularly India, in the last, say, 20, 30 years or so, that is going to have any immediate impact at the moment. But things are changing in the sense of, as Mr. Jain pointed out, we are living in an age of revolution in terms of technologies, so banks will be changing, but we have not been practicing outsourcing in the way that other industries have been.
Right, sir. So I have your perspective that you want things to remain in the confines of the bank so that, it is more under the control of the people at the helm of affairs of carrying out this important segment of banking and financial services. All right. Let me pass on the baton to Mr. Mohanka. Mr. Mohanka, the same question follows for you as to how this outsourcing is relevant to a manufacturing setup such as yours.
I think for us in manufacturing, outsourcing is extremely relevant, and I think almost a means of survival when it comes to managing costs. In manufacturing, it's always about make versus buy. That's the decision-making, I would say, focal point which determines whether we outsource or not. There are always different relevant operations, I would say, which drive those kind of decisions, whether we manufacture some of the products internally or we use that capacity for higher margins in some other product lines. So that's as far as manufacturing is concerned. But a manufacturing unit also has a lot of services from, be it back-end, HR, accounting, IT. So an organization is run through multiple facets of different services. And global capability centers, or GCCs as what we call them today, are becoming more and more relevant, which manufacturing for sure is very cognizant of. And I think that's the future as far as managing costs in a manufacturing setup is concerned.
Well, points well taken, Mr. Mohanka. Since you're introducing the flavor of why outsourcing is important, more particularly for a manufacturing setup, having touched upon so many gamuts and facets of the business, you do find relevant that, for carrying out industrial revolution as far as our country is concerned, outsourcing definitely is gaining momentum, going forward with every segment of the business. Right, let me pass on the buck to Mr. Pandita. Sir, your thoughts and views on as to how outsourcing is relevant to your paint sector or the paint industry per se.
Hi, good evening, everyone. So before I come to the question, Mr. Jain, I think first of all we should understand why outsourcing. Because when we talk about the topic which we have today is revolution. So I think a part of this question is somehow when we are talking about revolution, it means competition. So with the revolution, there comes a lot of compression. When we are talking about paint industry today, when it tells somebody that I am from paint industry, पहला question आता है, इतना compression, हो सकता है क्या survive? इतनी सारी companies. So if we are talking about compression, then if you have to succeed, you need specialization. Not only specialization, you need super specialization. So if I am making paints, so I will specialize in paints. I will try to innovate in newer categories of paints, better paints. Should I concentrate on other things as well? Lot of things which I have to do. I have to sell, I have to do a lot of other activities, financial, HR, everything. So I think this is where the role of outsourcing comes in. So in India, we are finding lot of experts, super specialists in different fields. So if I can specialize in paints, so I need to take help from others who can help me, who are specialists in their respective categories, to help me to provide better services in the market, to my customer, to the field. So I will be better off than my competition. I think that is what I personally feel. And now coming specifically to paint industry, for paint industry, there are so many categories of products. And on one hand, you definitely, as sir was saying, from the banking, we want to keep everything to ourselves. We want to definitely keep that formulations, the secret of all those things with us. But on the other side, you have to definitely cater to the market. So for that, you need support from so many vendors who can help you in providing a lot of production capacity, a lot of help on providing right amount of products to the market. I think that's why outsourcing has become integral part of any industry, every industry.
Right. Thank you, gentlemen. Those were the initial remarks, the initial, thought process on how industrial revolution vis-a-vis the outsourcing mechanism or outsourcing momentum is playing a role. Now, let me pose a question back to you, Dr. Sinha. One thing you made a mention that, you are working within the framework, within the confines of the set policies of the bank internally. But going as per the mechanisms, there are so many bodies, external bodies, that keep a regulatory check on the functioning of the banks, wherein you harp upon, let's say we as chartered accountants, you harp upon so many audit services, due diligence services, or valuation services. You have to rely on consultants such as chartered accountants, or you do take the help of taxation experts or consulting experts, or people are there who are strategizing, because you are coming from one such industry where you are from a private sector banks. There are a lot of public sector banks well entrenched, well established over a long period of time. So whatever little services that you are using insofar as outsourcing is concerned, and insofar as utilizing the services of chartered accountants are concerned, what could be the major hurdles or the challenges that you face in accepting outsourcing services?
Okay. Yeah, I don't want to mix up outsourcing with our contact with any outside vendor. Obviously, we have to depend upon outside vendors in a very fundamental way to run any kind of business in any industry. But looking at outsourcing, I was looking at outsourcing more as more of a regular contractual kind of thing, where some of my business processes, etc., support systems, etc., are given to a entity which is outside, legally not my organization, but they do it for us. Banking, as I mentioned, is highly regulated, so even if we have things like, now we have this concept of banking consultants or assistants who can go out and help in recovery or collections, or can help in deposit mobilization, give us contacts. Even there, the regulator keeps a hawk eye on, is there any conflict of interest, is there anything hera-pheri going on, the possibility, because it is so risky and you're dealing with two sources of vulnerability. Most of us deal in business with the shareholder. It's somebody else's money with which we are fooling around, let's say, quote unquote. But here we have another set of players, the depositors, who have laid trust in us. So we have to keep the depositors in mind as well as the shareholders, me coming from a private bank. Coming to Mr. Jain's question about, where exactly is the role of, say, the accountancy profession. Clearly, we are dependent in a large number of ways. One, of course, is the statutory audit process. But there again, as you know, it's not an outsourced in the regular sense. We have to keep changing. There are now 2 sets of auditors who have to be there. The regulator will tell us who we can employ, whom we cannot appoint. And of course, we have an internal audit team where there are accountants. Most of our, senior level in all banks, senior level finance people are all chartered accountants. My CFO is, I think all CFOs are. In the board, for the audit committee itself, the independent director who is the audit committee chair has to be a chartered accountant as per SEBI norms. So obviously we do need. What I would like to share with the audience here is that things are changing in the sense, first of all, if you look at outsourcing in India, that itself is changing in a dramatic way because of the advent of AI. All right, and I was looking at a BCG report which has been submitted to Niti Aayog. There is going to be 3 kinds of things that are going to happen. Some existing jobs are going to go kaput, they're going to disappear. That itself may be a social problem. There will be jobs which are existing but will be reshaped in a dramatic way. And third, completely different kinds of jobs will be opening up. And there will be a transition in the next 4 or 5 years into something which we have not journeyed into. So there's an anticipation, there are estimates going on, but there are also anxieties that what might happen to the economy as a whole. Regarding the accounting profession, the things that I can see is that very routine auditing purposes, I think the human accountant is going to become less and less needed by organizations. And in fact, if I do it through artificial intelligence, some agent, I am ruling out some of the, the vulnerabilities that a human individual entity, however good you're a chartered accountant, you can make a lapse, you can make a mistake. That's unlikely to be in a machine. But the more complicated the world of technology becomes, the more there will be, other kinds of crimes, lapses, frauds. And for there, some kind of hyper-specialization will be required from not the mold of the classic accountant, the chartered accountant, but in terms of a financial expert who carries accountancy along with a huge amount of technical knowledge, along with a huge amount of, I would say, smartness in terms of judging human beings, judging situations, etc., which makes for a very good sort of analyst of a complex situation. And that is where I think the accountancy profession is heading towards. I think the next generation, our children and particularly our grandchildren, given my age, when they're going to become accountants, they're going to be much more technically versed in terms of latest technologies than probably my generation ever has been when they studied accountancy and became professional accountants. I'll stop there.
So you touched upon a very, very important aspect about artificial intelligence. Our institute is very much seized of this idea, and they have introduced a lot of curriculums about it, training the members insofar as AI is concerned. Blockchain is there, data mining is there. So we are jolly well aware of, as to which level, to which stage we have to adapt technology in order to assist the society at large per se, and more particularly the services as well as the manufacturing sector. So we are seized with the idea, not that, the institute is not aware of that. You have heard, through the day, right in the morning, our president also, had thrown enough light on in which direction the institute is treading upon to respond to the needs of the industry at large. All right. Mr. Mohanka, you made a very interesting observation in your opening remark that apart from, manufacturing activities, there could be services segment which you may, resort to outsourcing insofar as your industrial revolutions, insofar as the mannerism in which you are carrying out your businesses are concerned. So, if you could share your thought processes, what could be the challenges, you look at while you are parting away with any outsourcing activity, more particularly you mentioned about, say, HR or accounting or the packaging segment, so to say.
So for those who are not aware of what we do in Tega, it's pretty much a global business which is spread across 18 countries with customers in over 96 countries. So for us, the speed and efficiency with which we respond to customers, we respond to our different manufacturing units across the world is very, very critical for us to be able to deliver that efficiency to customers. So I think it's come a point for us in Tega where we almost run like a 24/7 operation. And I joke about this in the office that, you know, when we go to bed at night, our furthest office in the geography, which is Brisbane, starts to wake up. And when we wake up in the morning, it's, you know, Los Angeles is going to sleep. So it's almost like a 24/7 operation for us. And here it's very critical that in all our different operations across the world, they have support from the mothership, which is the head office here in Calcutta. And that's where something like a global capability center becomes very efficient, where we have our own, I would say, mix of people delivering different kinds of services across the entire spectrum, including design engineering, for example. Operational support could be to do with all the different back-end services that we have, which is available to them on a 24/7 basis. So it's not to do with the hours that India operates in, but a global kind of a timeline. And that's where we find a lot of merit in, for example, outsourcing such services. We could in-house it, for example, have our own global capability center, or we could have a vendor run that for us. But those are the kind of, I would say, efficiencies that we need to bring in an organization such as ours, which is so global in its nature. And hence, you know, outsourcing some of these services become very relevant for us.
Very interesting perspective, Mr. Mohanka, operating in 18 countries, and, you know, I mean, it's pretty much spread across the globe. So, you know, naturally have to keep pace with, you know, happenings in most of the countries, you know, be it the part of the law that you have to adhere to, or the mechanism in which financial services are operated. So thereby, what I intend to see is, like, you know, there are a lot of opportunities for chartered accountants per se to acquaint themselves with the happenings of, let's say, rendering services to a company of your standards, actually. Okay, Mr. Bandita, let me pose a very, very pertinent question to you. You have just stepped into the world of paints, and the likes of, say, Asian Paints or Berger Paints or Akzo Nobel, or, you know, I mean, so many of them. Where exactly do you see yourself positioning insofar as your industrial revolution in the painting segment is concerned, and how exactly, or what are the challenges you are facing insofar as outsourcing activities are concerned in your paint sector per se?
Okay, as I said in my opening remarks, paints industry is very competitive, but yes, there's huge scope of business in the market. Normally, there's a thumb rule which we say within the industry that paint industry grows at least 1.5 times that of GDP growth. So it is year on year, paint industry grows. So you can see a lot of new players coming into this industry, whether it is a cement manufacturer or steel manufacturer like us. So who we are, and this is a logical expansion for us to get into a product, giving the same product or giving a product to the same customer who has been using our steel, using our cement or any other product, and giving him the paint. So definitely there is huge scope. So a lot of players can adjust into this. And earlier it was a very simple combination of like 3 or 4 players. Asian Paints used to be the big brother. He used to dictate the terms and we used to follow. So now things are completely different. Every company lives its own life. Every company is dictating its own terms, and every company has its own role to play. Like if I talk for Macau Paints, we are part of Sham Steel, and Sham Steel is known for quality and trust. When we talk about quality and trust, we have to take that forward. So our management, when we are talking about Macau Paints, the main point is how can we maintain the quality within this competition, within this competitive world. When we are talking about outsourcing, when we are talking about say succeeding in this particular competitive world, so you have to provide the quality. So coming to the question, what Mr. Jain was asking about, the key challenge, I think, what we face usually is, say, for example, if I have to give the best quality to the market, I have to give best quality to my customers. So I have to ensure my vendor, the person who is doing job for me, when I outsource to someone, maintains that kind of quality. So I think that is one of the biggest challenges which we face, that we are not getting that consistency, we are not getting that kind of quality, whether I'm outsourcing my production, whether I'm outsourcing the HR services, whether I'm outsourcing any service or say production to my any outside vendor. So that is the main challenge we are facing currently.
Well, gentlemen, one important aspect, I was reading a report somewhere that today outsourcing is a multi-billion-dollar market. I mean, so far as the revenues to the service providers are concerned. Now, can you throw some light, per se, Mr. Mohanka, this question is directed to you, as to how do you think this would be assisting you in reducing operational cost or, planning for your capex going forward? How do you think the outsourcing mechanism vis-a-vis the industry in which you are operating, how this could be of use to reduce the operational cost and, garnering a suitable role for the capex?
As I'd mentioned earlier in my opening remarks, that it's always a make versus buy decision for us. So in every manufacturing plant, there's finite capacity, and one would always want to maximize the margins by manufacturing in-house and utilizing that capacity. So for example, if by using my own capacity I can get a margin of 100 rupees, I would rather use my capacity for that than manufacture a product which gives me, say, a margin of 60 rupees. So while I would not want to give up those margins either because they're lucrative enough, so I would then look at outsourcing that product that will give me 60 rupees of margin to a third party, who I would like to, for sure, make sure that they're using the right raw materials based on our specifications, they have the right manufacturing setup, they have the right quality control processes. Sometimes we use our own quality inspectors to monitor those vendors. But outsourcing for us is what we would say internally is a good word, it's not a bad word. So you can leverage your own capacity for higher margin products while you outsource those product lines which give you a lower margin, and yet get away from additional capex towards a lower margin product, for example. So that's how we would view our outsourcing strategy. And I think going by cost of land today, increasing cost for building, availability of land, increasing cost of manufacturing equipment globally, I think it makes sense to outsource as much as you can. There's also a new word in our space, is what we call cooperative competition. So there are lots of competitors today in our space where we try and leverage each other's capacity. For example, it's long been known that ABB and Siemens kind of share their own capacities, right? They compete when it comes to out in the open market, but yet they utilize each other's capacities to build for each other. So that's also becoming more and more relevant in at least our market is concerned.
One question to you, Dr. Sinha. See, insofar as accessing to talent pool is concerned, especially once you mentioned about, the technical tools or the technology available at the disposal, and more particularly, say, cybersecurity or data analytics or software development, and particularly for the financial services and the banking segment. How do you think we as chartered accountants can play a definitive role in assisting you in carrying out such technological services? How do you think you're going to adapt the services wherein our members are trained in adopting such technology?
That's an important question, in the sense that what I see in terms of moving to a new technology, new interfaces, banks, I think some other big organizations are also doing the same. Banks definitely are building in-house competencies in terms of data analytics, artificial intelligence. They are constantly interfacing with business. Without business, those tech chaps won't be able to deliver. And without the tech chaps, the business people will not be able to execute what we need. it is in that interface, I think, in the banking sector, one of the first sort of expertise that these data chaps and these tech chaps will be going at would be the accountants, the financial experts. I'm saying, you know, fin experts in the more general sense, which will to a large extent include accountants in our field. And that is the most important thing that is being done. There's a constant sort of development of things. Then it goes out in the sense that then there is some comparison that takes place. What is my peer bank doing? What is my competitor doing? What are some international best practices? Are we heading towards that? Then you are looking at the industry as a whole rather than your own organization. But I think that's an extremely important role, because everything we do in a bank boils down to finance ultimately. Whether it's, you know, HR or marketing or customer relationship, it's always ultimately driving at a set of numbers, and where, you know, there is inherent risk, there is inherent responsibility towards, as I said, a double set of customers, and of course the regulator with the rod standing on top of our heads, as it were. But that is an area that is very fascinatingly changing, and my sense is that by 2030 it will have changed beyond recognition, in the extent that if you take say a typical chartered accountant, the way he relates to a bank, if he is outside the bank, or a chartered accountant, the way he relates to an organization if he is employed by the bank, could be either. But there would be a sea change in terms of the type of things he's supposed to be doing and the things that he does now, which he doesn't need to do.
So, Mr. Sinha, you're throwing a gauntlet to we chartered accountants that, you know, we need to be more technology adapting in, say, next 4 or 5 years to come. 2030 is not very far away, just 4 to 5 years to go. And definitely, you know, we are working in that direction. Mr. Pandita, a very important question to you. Since you are operating in a very, very competitive environment, how do you think, you know, you'll be able to respond to the increase in flexibility or adapt quickly to market changes? And what exactly do you think we as accountants could assist you in playing a role in curtailing your costs of operations and marketing are concerned?
Okay, so restricting myself to the current topic of outsourcing. So as Mr. Mohanka said, that is the golden rule for any outsourcing or any industry or any company. So for example, high margin products, and where your formulations or kind of secret kind of thing which you want to keep to yourself have to be manufactured by yourself, and you have to definitely outsource the products which are giving you less margins and need definitely high capex, high investment. So that is the golden rule. So similarly, if you have to compete in the market, if you have to definitely go with the industry trends, you will have to use outsourcing. And as I was talking earlier only, it is the matter of super specialization. So I don't need to specialize, be the specialist in everything. So I can take that help from people who are doing well in the industry, from other people, other vendors. So that is how I can manage my production, my flexibility, and compete in the market. Now, coming to the question of how CAs or how accountants can help us. In one of the earlier sessions, we heard that one of the members was saying, why can't we call laborers as employees? So I think similar thing can be related to our outsourcing vendors. Why can't we call them as our partners? So when we are going to call them as our partners, it is very important that we have to get into PIP, that is partnership in profit. So there where I personally feel accountants, chartered accountants can play a huge role if they define a proper strategy between the person who has to give it to the other person for manufacturing and the vendor. Because when I was talking about my key challenge is to maintain the quality, consistency. So once he is partner in my profit, once he is considering himself equivalent to what I am doing, he is considering himself equally responsible for the job which I am supposed to do, I think things will be sorted and people will be able to do things in a better way, more productive, more efficient, and I think we will be able to compete better.
Gentlemen, one very important remark that comes to mind, one of our former presidents, Mr. Abdul Kalam, he had mentioned that chartered accountants are partners in nation building. And he went on to say that, they're the conscience keepers of the economic affairs of the society. So keeping this thought process in mind, Mr. Mohanka, what do you think could be the expectations from, an industry expert such as you, defining the role of chartered accountants in co-piloting industrial revolution and outsourcing momentum? What do you think we can, be of some utility to the industry at large, keeping in view Mr. Abdul Kalam's thought process?
No, I think, when you hear someone as a qualified chartered accountant, the first thought that comes to your mind is bookkeeping. But I think the role of a chartered accountant today has gone way beyond bookkeeping. I think that was something which is, a thought process which is a couple of decades old now. In today's world, I think, the role of a chartered accountant is much, much more beyond accounting, bookkeeping. It's more to do with, from my perspective, to do with governance and controls. Today, more and more chartered accountants I see in the industry, even in our firm, has to do with strategy, for example. All the CAs in my firm are involved in M&A, for example, mergers and acquisitions, new businesses, decisions around budgeting, CapEx, all driven by chartered accountants who are very, very sharp when it comes to understanding money and how to make money. So, and for us, I think that's really important when we keep our head grounded in terms of what we need to deliver to our shareholders going forward and how do you ensure that your business is sustainable. For me as an MD, CEO, my CFO probably is the most important go-to person for me who I would say keeps me level-headed. For example, my role is to be aggressive. I can sometimes be overly aggressive. And my simple brief to my CFO is keep me level-headed. So he's always there to ensure that I make the right decisions. I make decisions which are important from a shareholder perspective, stakeholder perspective, from ensuring that we're continuously delivering value to our stakeholders. So I think the role of a CA today has become multifaceted. It's way beyond just books. I think it's not about numbers anymore. It's more about a very, very key material input in strategy and I would say building an organization today.
Thank you very much. That's a much needed compliment, Mr. Mohanka, hearing from the industry expert. So, we are going beyond number crunching or accounting or taxation or routine matters. So we are more, partnering with you in assisting you in strategizing, in taking important decisions. Well, I guess we had this much of time to, interact with you people. It was indeed a thought-provoking session, and I'm sure our fellow members over here, they are largely benefited by the views and thoughts of three industry experts. Now, just before I, pass on the buck to the organizers, in case there be any question, one or two at least from the floor, who do you want to direct it? If you could raise your hand, come forward, pose it to the panelists, that would be a welcome move. Anyone from the floor, please. Yeah, please rise and can somebody share a mic with him? Yes, sir, please go ahead. Oh, you need a mic. You can come nearer to the stage, please. And who's to whom you're directing the question, if you could be specific?
Thank you very much. To the stalwarts of the industry. I'm also in the industry. My question is to Mr. Pandita, that how do we leverage the outsourcing cost to the extended warranty? Because in this era, only sale of goods is not important. The overall value proposition which we are delivering to customer is important. So how do you leverage outsourcing cost to the extended warranty? Because to maintain competition, all the industries are coming up with the extended warranty norms. So this question is to you. And I have one more question to Mr. Mohanka, that for new startups, the people who are coming into new startups, they don't have an option to make. So what is your advice for the buy model, and how do we gauge the risks of incorrect implementation of AI into such startups? Thank you.
So I think a very good question. Cost definitely is very important in the competitive world. So when we are talking about the golden rule, that we have to maintain, on one hand, we have to ensure that we are providing the products at the right cost. I think that is very important, and the right quality also. So when we are talking about outsourcing, we are saying we will outsource the products where we have lesser margins and it needs higher OPEX, CAPEX. So definitely if I have to invest, I will have to definitely invest more. I will have to put a lot of cost, but I'll be earning less. If I outsource it, so I'll be accordingly placing it in the market, it will be accordingly priced, so that yes, I know I will be having lesser margins, but it will not be at the stake of my reputation in the market. I know it will be managed well. The product expectations are similar what I am going to give in the market. So I'll be able to manage the cost, I'll be able to manage the overall CAPEX as well as OPEX by doing that. But yes, the main and the core products which I have, I may not outsource it initially. I will definitely keep them to myself, and I'll be earning more, so that if I am having some cost, extra cost I'm paying for to the vendors for those low margin products, I'll be able to manage my overall account. Because see, the core of the thing is, I don't need to be expert of everything. I can definitely trust some people from outside. So that will definitely save some of my cost as well.
Yeah, I think the other question to me was the relevance of AI in startups. I think today for all of us who head organizations, AI is giving us sleepless nights. If you're just about thinking about AI, it's often said you're already late. So AI is becoming more and more relevant. In our organization, I think we're working very hard to find ways of where we use AI and how do we use it in the most efficient fashion. AI can be disruptive as well. So it's got the positive side and the negative side of AI. So one has to use it very judiciously, and we've found different facets of our business where AI is becoming relevant, and we can use it in a very efficient fashion. And for example, being an old economy, manufacturing, mining company, for us, design engineering is very key. So that's one of the areas where we are implementing AI. These are not tools which are readily available in the marketplace, so it's something that we are developing ourselves. So we find a lot of use of AI in design engineering, for example. We started to use AI in documentation, so whether it be using keywords to help us draft documents. Even in our legal department, they've been using AI on drafting contracts, in proofreading contracts. Our annual reports, for example, are all AI enabled today. So I think there are many, many different facets of an organization where today AI is becoming more and more relevant, but AI is expensive as well. So it's about how do you use it in a fashion that gives you the most cost benefit in implementation of AI. I think today resources are also very scarce in AI. Not everyone can code AI. Those who can, it's very, very expensive. They're difficult to find or retain. So AI, I think, is very real. As I said, if you're just thinking about AI, you're probably already late. But there are multiple uses of AI today, and it's getting more and more relevant. And I think it's the future. So for us in manufacturing, AI has a lot of scope in delivering efficiency, performance, cost for us. And that's something that's a continuous process for us to look at these different aspects of implementation of AI in manufacturing.
Very nicely summed up, Mr. Mohanka. So, ladies and gentlemen, one important, underlining factor that comes to us is, insofar as industrial revolution and outsourcing momentum is concerned, we definitely, finance professionals and more particularly we chartered accountants, we do have a very important role in navigating the increased momentum in assisting the industrial revolution. This is what I could gather, from the experts over here. And especially in the wake of, the emerging economic scenario in our country, these are certainly positive facets for we as accountants, for we as finance professionals, and more particularly, the global businesses per se is also witnessing a sea change, wherein, the speakers prior to these sessions, they've made a mention as to what important role the Institute is playing in, shaping our members to face the challenges for and on behalf of our industry experts, for and on behalf of the economy per se. Having said so, I guess this is time now to wind off. And once again, on behalf of all the panelists over here, I extend my warm gratitude and thanks to the Eastern India Regional Council of the Icai Eye for having invited us for this wonderful session. This has indeed been a very thought-provoking session with a lot of takeaways from the industry experts. It's over to the organizers. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Vikas Bhaiya, for coordinating this session so well. I just want to announce before the gathering that the event of Golden Jubilee Conference was fully carbon neutral. So the certificate has been awarded to the Eastern India first time in the history of EIRC, and the partner of this carbon neutral event was none other than Tega Industry, Mehul Mohanka ji. So please give a big round of applause for him. Thank you so much for coming here and making our country, our earth a greener one. And thank you, Bandhan Bank Chairman Sir, Anup Sinha ji, who came and consented to be here, and all other persons, all other dignitaries who consented here. Second, I want to announce that Sri Sarvesh Periwal ji, who is the title sponsor of Manoj Muntasir program, it is about to start within 30 minutes. So please be here and enjoy this event, very important. Third one is the program was on the intuition. You have heard the demo in the inauguration session. That will be done properly tomorrow. So don't miss it. It is an inner power which is required to be generated, required to be elevated. So please come tomorrow and take the use of that particular demonstrations. With these remarks, thanks a lot.
Hello, good evening to everyone. I extend my sincere thanks to our distinguished speakers for sharing their valuable insights on outsourcing momentum of CS. Your thoughts have truly enriched us. My thanks to all participants for being a part of this session and to the organizing team for their support. Thank you all.